Now the game is going to start throwing in missions that weren't part of the movie at all, but in such a way that they feel natural for the story here. In the movie, Bond never went to Seven Isle. At best, he and a bunch of other people saw what happened via satellite imagery and pieced together part of what happened, including the fact that someone survived the destruction there, but you actually saw things happen there from Natalia's perspective. But in this game, we visit the location twice. The first time is when the facility is being set up for the Goldeneye satellites, and the second is when the satellites are being fired on the base. And seeing as how we only see through Bond's eyes in this game, when the movie gave us an extra perspective or two, that's an acceptable break from the movie. The first time I went through this mission, I thought when they say power down, they meant shoot it, like with the alarms in the first mission of the game. Of course, when I did that, the objective ended up failing, because apparently it doesn't matter if you shut it down, then shoot it, or just shoot it. The equipment being broken like that sets off silent alarms that I assume inform everyone in the country that something major is going on in this region that happens to be linked to an experimental orbiting superweapon. I actually kind of like that bit. Very nice touch. And I also like the touch that the dish on top of that building stops spinning when you turn it off. My only issue is there's nothing stopping anyone from turning it back on. And anyone who looks in the general direction of that dish is going to notice it's not spinning like it should, which should at the very least raise some local alarms, assuming all the guys we kill don't do that. Wow, those explosive barrels take a lot more bullets to blow up than I remembered. Definitely appreciate a wide-open outdoors mission like this, even if the game's draw distance doesn't give us all that much of a view. Really? So a room full of unopened boxes and grenades just laying around is unlocked, but we've got another cabin just next to it that is? Kind of wish we could use the grenades to open the door. It's not like we're gonna be subtle with the sheer number of bodies we're gonna leave in our wake. An observatory without a telescope. Bit like a garage without cars. You'd think they'd have at least kept something like a telescope in this building if they're trying to conceal what this base is really for. At least, so an overhead scan wouldn't just go, well that's not quite right. Of course, in the Cold War, people were paying such close attention to everything and to one another that even if there wasn't anything to show that it wasn't quite right, I'm sure some people would be suspicious just for the sake of it. May as well talk about the club a bit, even if I'm probably not going to use that gun in this particular playthrough. That's actually a bit of a shame, since I do like the sound it makes. But even dual-wielded and firing both guns at once, you're more likely to hit a wall than your target. You don't get too many guns in games these days that are purposely made pathetic to give them a bit more personality. Of course, now I have to wonder if the actual Czechoslovakian submachine gun it's based off of is a particularly bad gun itself. Well, at least the ammo we get from it lets me keep using the pistol we started the mission with without having to change guns, because the thing's got the accuracy of a musket and the punching power of a starving 6-year-old kid in this game. Hence why I'm probably not going to use it in this playthrough. Still, makes me wish that games these days did more to make the various guns feel like they have their own personality, instead of blending together so much. speaking of guns that have some personality, but I somehow doubt we're gonna use all that much, with the draw distance in this game, I'd very much consider the sniper rifle kind of crippled here. Seriously, when the pistol, which is supposed to be a short-range weapon, can shoot about as far as the draw distance in the game, then a gun that can shoot further than you can see is more than a little awkward. Either there's an officer with a spare hat, or someone left the rest of his uniform somewhere else. Not that there seems to be all that many closets in any of these cabins. Or beds. I know they're still moving in, but you'd think that putting down some cots would be the first thing they do. I know, it's an N64 game. They can get away with not including beds for this base. Even if I distinctly remember the Army-Men games would include cots in enemy positions in this same console generation. It was either that, or wait until the alarm went off to say anything, and really there's not much for me to say about that, since, well, I'm not that good at subtlety anyway. No keys in here either, and I'm not even gonna question the model motorcycle and car on the desk there. I'm sorry to say that regardless of if the alarm goes off or not, I seem to recall that enemies constantly spawn in this mission anyway. Again, Bond is not an especially stealthy person, which really makes me wonder why people keep calling him some kind of super spy. At his most subtle, he is a detective, and otherwise, he's essentially a goddamn super soldier. And to make things more hilarious, this is the same console generation when the PlayStation 1 started the Siphon Filter series and gave us the first Metal Gear Solid. Don't get me wrong, I have a lot of fun feeling for this game. Hell, a lot more than the stealth-oriented ones I just pointed out. It's just funny that Bond is considered a super spy when there are a number of people, in gaming at least, that outdo him in the spy department. For some reason I thought whoever had the safe keys would be patrolling at the top of the tower. Seriously, it's amazing some of the things you misremember when you come back to a game a hell of a long time after you haven't touched it in a while. Until we find whoever's got the damn key, we're kind of stalled out. Not that I'm in an especially big hurry or something. This game is pretty short compared to a lot of the others I've LP'd so far, and just about every mission is a blast to go through again. The one exception is pretty deep into the game, and it'll take a little bit more for us to finally get that far. Dear God! Some of these guys are trying to shoot us even when it's completely impossible for them to hit us. Wonder why I remembered having to kill someone specific for this key when it's the key that gets us to this key that works like that. Ugh. Great. Somehow managed to forget which cabin has the safe in it now. Boy, maybe if I had a few drinks, then maybe my memory would be jarred in the right direction. Why in the hell is this cabin completely empty anyway? All the others have something inside them, even if the game's graphics engine makes it limited to what they can actually put in these various cabins. nothing else, we're certainly going to have a high kill count at the end of this mission. Wonder how many kills we're gonna have by the time we get to the end of the game. And there we go, time to get into the base itself. Though with the sheer number of bodies we're leaving in the snow out here, it's going to be pretty ridiculous that we're going to have any element of surprise once we get down there. Especially since the alarm has already been raised out here once, and I'm going to set it off again. Sure, we turned it off, but I would think that would make everyone here even more alert, even without taking into account the next time I set it off. Or do you mean to tell me that the way the alarms are set up in this super secret base meant to control a super weapon, that the alarms outside don't connect with the ones inside? Knew that would happen? Just find it funny that the game lets us try and fail to go in the direct way this time, when the next time we're at this base, that's going to be the only way in. And activating that particular alarm summons a bunch of guys who are dressed distinctively differently from the other guards around here. The boys in blue can take more of a beating, but there's not too much other than that to make them distinctive from the other guards we've been slaughtering left and right so far in the game. They all use the same kind of guns the guards in the area would have used anyway. And it's hard to consider someone a badass in any way when they willingly choose the most inaccurate, weakest hitting gun in the game and prove just as inept with it as everybody else. Four padlocks. Kinda makes me wonder why the Russians bothered including this entrance, since the padlocks imply that they're sure people might try to get in this way. And of course, we just jump down casually like it's nothing. I probably shouldn't be surprised considering how the game handled the bungee jump bit in the first mission. Could have sworn we managed to kill more than just 36, but I suppose that's why I don't typically count my kills.